All right. Well, in the not too distant future, next Sunday AD, there were 3 schmucks reviewing Linux games and throwing chairs at them. This is Observer. It's developed by Bloober Team SA. It's been published by Aspyr. It's on the Unreal Engine 4, so it joins the illustrious ranks of games using UE4 under Linux. What is it? Observer is a cyberpunk horror game from Bloober Team, the creators of Layers of Fear. Discover a dark cyberpunk world beset by plagues, war, and squalor. Play as a new front line of neuropolice as you hack into the jagged minds of the insane. Aspyr did send us some keys from this. So if you don't know what the CHAIRQUISITION is, this is where we get around, we play some video game, we talk about it, we give it a little QA that maybe their original developers didn't really think to do, which clearly, you'll see later that's kind of important. We got our CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage, 2 chairs means it's meh, 3 chairs means it's pretty good, and 4 chairs means that I really miss the pink, YOLO chairs. And we got our categories of doom, mixed with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So let's kick this off. I know we all had some issues getting this game up and running. So, Ben, you took the first dive, so why don't you run us through your little...
Sure, what are you talking about? This game runs fantastic. This game's great. It runs on it runs on my i3, integrated 1080p, 100 frames a second, bro. People, stop doing it.
That's amazing. How'd you do that?
Eat a bag of dicks, people. I mean, quit white knighting this shit. You're hurting Linux. I know you think you're helping. I've seen this since... I've been seeing it for years, but this... got some special attention for some reason with people. It runs great. It's like, what's your hardware? It's like, well, maybe it has a couple of performance. It's got a lot of performance issues, Brad. That's just the tip of the fucking snowbird. On the 1700, clocked at 3.6 with the 980. Yeah, this game's problems has fucking problems, man. The only way I can play it, I have a UHD monitor, 3840 by 2160. The only way I can play it is in a little 1080p window. It's a known problem. Now, like a responsible person, I didn't go reeing all over the fucking Steam forums, which nobody checks that. You go to Aspyr, they got a support ticket system, you fill it out, which I did, provide the information, get in contact with somebody, talk your way to the person you need to, and they write back, they are... To quote, we are able to replicate this issue. It has been bugged and will be added to the fix list. Sorry, can't provide you with an immediate solution. What is the issue? It can't go to 1080p full screen. It can only do 3840. Even if you set it on 1080p, it goes 3840. 3840 in this game runs like bricked ass.
Yeah, like 23, 30 frames a second at most. And especially when you go into the brain dippy parts, it'll drop to literally 8 frames a second.
Mm.
I was getting 2 at one point.
Yeah, I was averaging 14 just out of curiosity playing with it. Overlay doesn't work. These are standard. Here's my first UE. This is not the first UE4 title. These are things that I've seen before with other games that have come to Linux on Unreal Engine 4. This is Growing Pains. Overlay can't take screenshots. That's the thing. At 1080 with the 980, I'm going to be real. 1080p, for the most part, it's able to hold 60. I mean, it's with some dips into the 50s. It is using 89, 90% of the 980 GPU usage. That's a thing. On the 1700, clocked, again, 3.6, it doesn't even fucking register between the 16 threads. It's like there might be a game running in there somewhere. It's not doing anything. And it does seem, I don't have any confirmation on this, I need to ask, that Aspyr didn't port this. They only published it. I feel it kind of shows. With the game itself, it's stuck me to the floor and forced me to close it and open it up twice. This is a little bit of an issue since it implemented an autosave feature, so it's kind of luck of the draw where you're going to get fucked or not.
Yeah. I never ran into that, but I had a very similar issue with you. I played through a bunch of the game at UHD with the shit performance, and then I eventually switched down to windowed mode, and it was hovering around 48 to 63 frames a second, but it's not consistent either.
No.
I agree with you though. Aspyr has shown that they know their way around a Linux port. I think this was just the click export and away you go, UE4 equivalents.
And there's an issue on top of the performance, because even at 1080p, since I only have the two 1080p monitors, full screen 1080p, the performance is ass. But outside of that, there's also the issue that every now and again, the game seems to have issues keeping the mouse cursor contained in the actual game. I noticed a couple of times, some of which actually happened while recording the video that you're watching right now, which sort of forced me to go back into the game and click on it, make sure that it didn't escape the window anymore, even though it was
you did the drift thing where you just kind of let go of the mouse and then it goes. Ooh,
it absolutely does that. And yeah, no, it has issues, and I'm pretty sure Aspyr wasn't involved with the port at all. Kind of sucks.
A little bit irritating, but Jordan, you're on Skylake Gen 2, right?
Yeah, first gen Skylake. I'm on the 6700K running Fedora 26 with the GTX 980. And yeah, this thing runs like ass. I'm not particularly pleased with the performance of it. It does launch and it does run. I'm not sure if this was an issue or not, because I couldn't reproduce it, but I had to I had to switch Steam Runtime Prefer host libraries to get the game to launch initially. Afterwards, I didn't have to do that, so there may be some initialization bug or something. Yeah, or maybe I'm just really stupid, but I'm going to give it 2 cheers for makes with the
Yeah, we gave it a 2 cheers all the way down with that. I will say this to Aspyr's credit with the way they're handling issues. I've been perusing the Steam forums, because you guys out there are wicked smart. A lot smarter than I am most of the time.
Wicked smart.
Wicked. And if somebody's come up with a fix, I mean, this game actively ignores if you change your INI files. Because it's an Unreal Engine game. You're like, oh, okay, I know how to play this game. That was the first thing I did. It completely just ignores all that. But I was reading, and a lot of people said if you submit a ticket, which they had, saying this was an issue, and I'm bringing this up because, Jordan, you run Fedora, is with an unsupported operating system, unless it's a 1604, 1704 SteamOS 2.0, they politely tell you to eat a bag of dicks because it's not a supported operating system. So
yeah, but these seems to be issues across the board, though, whether you're on Ubuntu or Fedora or whatever.
So we're going to give that a solid 2 cheers. But you're looking at video. If you're watching the video version, to describe it, you're in an apartment, a really good-looking fucking apartment. Because
very detailed. It looks like the Unreal Engine 4 apartment tech demo. And that's the thing. Like, this is UE4, so you get all the nice UE4 textures, the lighting, all that stuff. Though, Ven, you made a really good comparison with the Soma visualization, like, oh, I'm going crazy effects. Looks like a busted video card.
The very beginnings of, we'll talk more about that in the mechanics section, the fun section, but yeah, your digital vision starts glitching out. When it first starts glitching out, holy fuck all, it looks like either an overclocked, overheating GPU or one that's about to go tits up on you. It's part of the game. I was playing around with overclocking earlier this week, so needless to say, I went back and double checked.
That's the real survival horror, right? It's like, shit, did my hardware survive this game?
Scared me more than this fucking game did. But yeah, if you don't take your drugs, shit gets blurry in this game. The building, basically where you're going to be most of the time, or in the 3 hours that I've gotten into it, incredibly detailed. I mean, even things that you would just walk past, if you stop, bend down, take a look. I mean, it's like, holy shit, tons of work on it. It's really fucking gorgeous, man.
Yeah, and you can interrogate like so much. There's like doors and like the one thing that kind of threw me off though was, despite how good everything looks when you're going to like the doorbell, like door camera thing, those look like crap, like the actual video on that screen.
Yep. That was intentional, though.
Yeah, I understand that, but it just seems a little out of place.
It was a stylistic. I mean, even when you start off in your car, you notice everything's shaped like a CRT monitor.
Mm-hmm.
And
I guess they were trying to go for the whole Blade Runner aesthetic.
I'm surprised Blade Runner ain't going to sue somebody. I mean,
well, they got Rutger Hauer, right? That's the other thing.
Yeah,
right.
But so I mean, like he's a little monotone in this. What I find kind of interesting is both this and DSX also take place in Poland. So what is it with Poland and the cyberpunk apocalypse? Are they trying to tell us something?
They just got a big old clue for it.
I guess, but yeah, you mentioned Rutger Hauer. He does really have the one tone throughout the whole thing. And you can tell by the audio quality that he kind of phoned his lines in, and it makes the dialogue sound even more disjointed than I guess they intended. But this is a very good sounding game, almost assaultingly so at certain points, especially when you do the observer thing and actually hack into one of the minds of one of the people you're interrogating. If you're playing with a headset, you will get a ear pussy assault when it comes to
our RIP headphone users.
Yeah, no, you will know exactly what I mean, but that's good in a way. And the visuals, it's actually one of the things I really liked about this game was just how much they managed to cram into those observer sequences, which, okay, let's face it, the human characters in this game all look like they were slapped so hard down the realism slope that they landed face down or face first into the uncanny valley. But considering that this the general undertone of this game is that everyone has like cybernetic implants and everyone's got like bionic limbs or whatever, I'm willing to excuse it, and I'm willing to excuse a great deal many things about this game, but more on that later. Here specifically, the visuals, they look very good, and it's one of the things that they make me want to keep playing this game, because whenever you go into one of those observer sequences, you go, oh, they're actually doing that. Neat. And you kind of want to see what other kind of shit they cram into those sequences, because it's awesome. There's just so much stuff happening at any one point.
I will say they do a really good job of nailing the ambiance, like with the atmospheric sounds and like the really unnervy type visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They managed to maintain a really good sense of tension throughout the entire game, which is something that a lot of horror games fail to do a lot of the time, either because of like ridiculousness or just because it's not fundamentally scary. We'll get a little bit more to the horror bits in the fun section, but I can definitely say that they do maintain a really good atmosphere in this game. It is sufficiently creepy throughout the entire.
It is. I mean, it really hits you kind of early too. Like the first time you go into like the maintenance area in that room.
Yeah.
Well, that motherfucker, and the positional audio. It's like, whoa, all right.
Oh, or when the superintendent sneaks up on you when you're.
Oh, yeah, that was a genuine jump scare for me.
it got like a 20% jump scare, because I was already at the point of going, where's it at? I know it's coming. And unfortunately, I mean, a lot of this does revolve around the game audio, to the point where if you take off your headsets, you're just like, it's a fuck around simulator.
Yeah.
It's pretty. It's fucking gorgeous. That's why I gave it 4 chairs.
I gave it 3, just because I like it. It's good. It's really good. It's a lot. It's a cut above what we've been getting so far, but I don't really see it's not eliciting like a puking rainbows reaction out of me. So
all right, so let's get into controls. What'd you guys think about it?
I mean, I started playing around with Waz. I fucked around with the Steam controller a little bit. It works. The one thing I will mention though is they do like the frictional gesticulation thing, and it's not quite 100% implemented properly. It'll stick on some points, ports. Yeah. Sometimes it's unclear which direction you need to push stuff in, and sometimes things are locked and they just won't. And the game just won't tell you.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's not just that. It's also the fact that with the frame rate issues, and I've noticed this with a couple of games, the mouse movement seems to be tied to the frame rate. So when the frame rate starts jumping around, the mouse movement gets all fucky, and the acceleration, you can turn it off. That's kind of a stickler for me. The acceleration just fucks itself, and it's either stupidly slow or really, really fast. And that, well, that and the mouse escaping from the confines of the window basically just cans the whole 4 chairs concept for me anyway at that point. But yeah, I guess it would be really hard to fuck up the controls when you have a game with like 11 keys that you need to press at any point in time. I can basically play this whole game on my mouse.
You basically can, but I mean, then again, more about this in the fun segment. I mean, it's a glorified interactive visual novel. Well done one.
Yeah.
With most things, I reach over and poke the X-Clone controller, which is a habit of anybody who's been a Linux gamer for a long time, because for a long time, there was like a 3% chance of that actually moving anything on the screen. So I poked the hat controller. It moved. I was like, ooh, bonus. So I picked up the X-Clone controller. And that's perfectly fine to play with, because the game's very slow paced, except when it's not. Then things get a little fucky, admittedly. But everything was perfectly mapped. The prompts matched up. Didn't have a problem with that. Strider picked up a Steam controller off of our wish list, and I tried. It worked with it. Didn't have any issues except for the right areola was a little too sensitive, giggity. But I didn't feel like tuning. This is something I'd play with later, but nothing was wrong with it. I didn't actually try to play this with keyboard and dribble. To me, this game, just from the get-go, struck me as something to just sit back and kind of experience, with the occasional requirement to boop it with a stick every now and then.
I mean, it's either or. Like, the games like these don't really care if you're using a controller or keyboard and mouse. It really just boils down to personal preference. I'm going to give it 3 chairs on the control, just because the draggy stuff is not 100%.
Yeah, and 3 chairs for me too, because, well, the mouse acceleration and the mouse cursor escaping the window, and it's just not perfect.
Right, so 4, 3. With the control, how was that?
3.
I think someone, i.e. me, fat-fingered a backspace.
Okay,
3,
so we definitely got 3 on that. Now, finally, we got a little bit of subjective. This is where we kind of give you our opinion, because it's the CHAIRQUISITION. The whole point of this is for the game to hopefully score a minimum of 2 chairs, just to let you know that it does in fact work for 3 different people on 3 different systems, using all types of weird hardware. But this is the end where we can say, did we like it or not? So you can choose to ignore this, and that's probably for everyone's betterment. Last week, when Aspyr said that this game was coming to Linux, and by the creators of Layers of Fear, I said, oh shit, Door Simulator 2019. Because that, if you played Layers of Fear, I don't care. Even if you don't like me, you're going to have to go, yeah, there's a lot of fucking doors in that game. It's like a game mechanic or some shit. Called it. Lots of doors. There's a door segment in this game where it's just door after door after. It was like, yeah, these same guys. Jordan, did you, I kind of felt like I got robbed on a lot of the immersion having to play this in a fucking window.
Oh, definitely. Like even like chugging through at full screen. Like when all you can see is like the game's contents, then yeah, you the creep and the ambience factor really gets jacked up. Going to windowed mode, it's like, yeah, this runs well, but I can see like Dark Side on my background, or some YouTube video I have in the background. You kind of lose some of it. And basically this boils down to, it's a walking simulator with a couple puzzles and some scavenger hunting thrown about, because you got like the 3 actually 4 vision modes. You got regular mode, night vision, digital mode, and semen detector mode. And
Blacklight mode.
I mean, yeah, blacklight mode, semen detector. Yeah, and you basically try and gather all the clues, and you have a little mission thing, and it'll update whenever you complete the goal in the room, so you can move on from point A to point B as you go and try to solve this murder case of all these random people dropping dead in this apartment complex that is horribly dilapidated.
Oh, I got to ask both of you something. Okay, when you first get started off and you see, you're in the explodey dude's apartment, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you got to do your first hacking, and it only gets that 1 digit, right?
Yep.
Did you guys both have the same? It's like, wait a minute, I saw 4 digits on a key card.
Yeah.
And I kind of I liked how the game kind of comes back at you and says, "Oh, you didn't think it was going to be that." You
already saw that happening in the video. That if you're watching the video version, you already saw that. But I tried to.
I didn't catch that number, and so I kind of skipped that part. And that's the other nice thing about this game.
Here's the thing, though. Like, what you missed was the game. Him saying, "He was like, I didn't think it was going to be that easy, was it?" It's like, oh, well played. That's how the game starts off. Very like, all right.
Yeah.
Yep.
You got to pay attention. You got to read through all the lore and whatnot, and they give you a good amount of lore. And you walk around and you interrogate people, and occasionally you dive into their brains, and then at that point it just turns into more layers of fear. I mean, it's for me, it's like a well done example of this sort of game, but it's a hard sell for me. Like, you got to do something really, really crazy for me to get on board with this. I don't know. It's just random spoopy shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Then speaking of random spoopy shit, this game does have a few jump scares, but they feel very much organic. We mentioned the janitor doorman person who kind of sneaks up on you while you're in his office going through his personal computer, and that genuinely, because I was starting to turn around and I see something there, and he kind of makes weird gesture with his arms like, oh crap. That was a genuine jump scare, and it didn't feel forced at all. It
wasn't forced. I don't think it was like it wasn't a jump scare. It was intentionally there to make you go, whoa, fuck, but it wasn't booga booga.
It was a natural, organic jump scare, and that is good.
100%. I feel this game should 100% be commended on the fact that it does not rely on jump scare. Too many people conflate startling with scary, and that's just not true.
Thanks, Slenderman. You gave us about 5 years or 4 years of every. It's like, oh, let's make based on that because that got real popular.
Doom 3 was very jump scare reliant.
I think once you figure out how the game works, for me, the puzzles so far pretty easy. Nothing like really stumped me. A couple of things made me think, but I think that was what I like to call unintentional puzzles because I couldn't figure out what the game was trying to tell me to do because it does not lead you around by your dick organ.
Nope.
I mean,
they basically drop you in a room and say, here's a sandbox. Have fun.
Pretty much. Every now and then it might tug on your nipples every now and then, but that's about it. And sometimes it's just trying to figure out what you need to interact with. And one thing about these games, they're getting closer, but you're trying to go for, at least they didn't do the hand this time. You listen to me.
They didn't do the hand, they did the square.
Layers of fear. You show me the hand, that means you're trying to walk into frictional territory. Frictional.
Speaking of frictional, there's an interesting comparison that I found to be made between this game and Soma. They're like symmetrical opposites of one another. Because while frictional, you had Amnesia: The Dark Descent and the Penumbra series, Soma wasn't really as good as those. But when it comes, Soma took elements from those games and made like a sci-fi thriller story. This game is the symmetrical opposite in the sense that Layers of Fear wasn't particularly good, but they took elements from that game and they made a better one. Observer is a better game than Layers of Fear. It's actually something I didn't hate. which it's kind of insane when you think about it, and at the same time not, because it's developers that actually took the criticism that people gave them about their previous game, and they fixed those criticisms, they addressed those criticisms, and they fixed the game. Rather than, throwing a hissy fit and standing there.
They took the shit to the next level. Everything's upgraded. This is a better story,
Absolutely.
better game. At the end of the day, I think visually it's fucking stunning. Unreal Engine is really showing its strength visually. What did we end up with? I think with three for Pedro, 2 for Jordan, 3 for me. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna get 2 for that.
And we tally all that nonsense up, and totally we get 2 cheers for Observer.
It passes.
Look.
It passes.
It passed. And I mean, like, that's, again, like, for me in the fun category, like, this sort of game is really a hard sell. So it's well done. It's competent. I'll give it that. But it's just not fun for me.
Yeah, I mean, each to their own. I mean, I feel the same way when I watch you play Darkest Dungeon. I'm like, oh, the fuck ever. Here's what I'm going to say. This is my tax of brass on this. On Observer, what I was able to play and how I had to play it negatively impacted things. Despite that, I thought it was fun. I think it's a little bit contrived, but so far in my 3 hours, reasonably well-told story. But wait until the bugs are sorted out. And also, Pedro, fuck off for a minute. I'm talking.
Okay.
Sort the performance. Fix that shit. It's bad. I know Unreal Engine 4 runs better than this because I think, Pedro, you can attest. You've seen it as well.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. The game runs like ass. Even with the Ryzen 5 1600 and the GTX 1080, the game runs like complete ass.
I don't think any of us have like really slouchy systems either. So
yeah,
it's not the hardware.
That really needs to be addressed. That said, though, the game itself, outside of the technical issues, kudos Bloober Team. You had it in you all along. All you needed to do was actually get past some of the tropes and make the game you wanted to make, and you did it. You fucking did it. Because, sure, it only got 2 chairs when it came down to it, but this is a sizable improvement over Layers of Fears or Layers of Doors, as that game.
Yeah, at least in this, there are some gameplay elements to this,
and it's really awesome when you actually hack into someone's mind and you go through the things. You really feel like, oh shit, I want to see what they do next.
So. I almost feel like they went a little too far with the mind hacking shit. Like in some of the mind hacking, like especially when you first start doing it, it seemed like it was just overdone. It was like, oh, look how trippy everything is. See, look here in somebody's mind. It's super trippy.
Everything is overdone, but you kind of adjust to that, and at that point, you get really curious. Like, well, how far did they push this? And you go and poke it. And it didn't disappoint. At least I want to play more of this game. I'm probably going to play all the way through it because I love horror games. I'm one of those people.
Did you get all the way to the electronic snake monster?
Yep.
Okay. That's about where I'm at right now. And I'm like, oh, wait, there's a run. And then I was really...
yeah.
Then I was pissed off because, like, do you know how much time I could have saved? I didn't know there was run. Because it's not.
Yeah, there's a sprint button. It's shift.
Yeah, on the controller, you gotta hold down the analog stick.
Yeah, you gotta tap it, and it's kind of a weird mechanic to do it until you get used to it. But yeah, current price right now. What are we at? It's on sale, 15% off, $25.49. Yep. You want to support them? I couldn't. If you like this kind of stuff, yeah, you're looking at it, and you're like, all right, and 25, maybe pick it up. $30 right now, no, just because it's not technically sound enough to justify that price. It's got too many.
Wait until you can bump that mix with the working up to 3 chairs, and then we'll talk.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.